Is there such a thing as writer's block?
Well, what does it take to be super creative over the course of a career, over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years?
4 specific nootropics that you can use to improve your creativity. 20% of scientists and researchers take prescription drugs in order to increase their performance in some way.
It's very hard to be an artist and to survive over any reasonable period of time.
Creativity now is as important in education as literacy.
I think the writer's block is the best way in the world.
It's about filling your
We're going to cure writer's block.
The Writer's Block Podcast.
Welcome to the Writer's Block Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Schultz, and in this series I'm going to be heading into the studios, spaces and hangouts of some of the most creative people I know, find out a little bit more about them and their craft. So the things I'm really curious about are, where do these people draw their creativity from? Are there any tips and tricks that people could use to unlock their own creative potential? How does one make a living being a creative artist? And what happens when you try to be creative and you simply can't? I'm definitely going into this whole podcast thing pretty blind, and not in the drunken sense, though I am a couple of glasses of red deep as I'm recording this. So I hope you all sort of stick with me as I stumble through awkward silences and audio issues on the path to podcast perfection. My very first guest is a guy I've known for around 10 years now. Born and raised in Ballarat, Victoria, Dan Kerby is the current drummer in my band, Behind Crimson Eyes. He also drums in the #1 platinum-selling punk band 28 Days. He has his drummer/DJ project called BagsVsDK with another one of my favourite humans, DJ Bags. And he's also the live drummer for multi-platinum selling Aussie hip-hop act Bliss N Eso. Huge. How huge? Bliss N Eso's Circus Under The Stars tour was the highest selling Australian hip-hop tour of all time back in 2014. I went to the Melbourne leg of that tour and it was massive. Anyway, so along with still currently playing in all 4 acts, he successfully started his own teaching school, DK Drums Academy, which he teaches out of his studio located at Kindred Studios here in Melbourne, as well as teaching out of his studio in Ballarat. I went into his Melbourne studio a few weeks ago to have a chat about his setup there, what it's like working in a creative environment such as Kindred, and what he's learned from his students and how they've inspired him creatively. You can reach out to DK on Instagram at Dan Kerby, that's DANKERBY, at Dan Kerby Drummer on Twitter, and if you put his name into Facebook, he's pretty easy to track down on there too. Also, don't forget to check out his website at www.dkdrums.com. I'll put all these links and links to his YouTube videos, endorsements, and anything else of relevance that we talked about during our chat up in the show notes, as well as on the blog, which can be found at thewritersblock.co. So be sure to check that out. Okay, enough talk. Hope you enjoy my chat with the one and only Dan Kerby. DK,
Big Azza.
thanks for coming on the show, bro.
Mate, what an absolute honour it is to be your #1 first guest.
Episode 1.
Episode 1, man. This is very exciting.
It is a bit exciting.
I'm excited to see where this goes, man, and who you get on the podcast. Hopefully, legends.
I've got a few ideas. A few people up my sleeve.
Yep.
Haven't contacted any of them yet.
Yeah,
So
just Big Dan.
fingers crossed, none of them say no.
Well, we'll kick this off and set the benchmark for what is to come on this podcast.
That's it. Here we go. Let's get started. We're here at your studio in Kindred Creative Spaces.
Absolutely.
Walk us through what we've got here, because it's a pretty cool setup, like as opposed to every other room.
Absolutely. So what we'll do, I might give you some photos or something, we can chuck it up so people can have a look, or
Absolutely.
some videos or whatever.
Sounds good.
So they can get an idea. But basically, mate, this was just a rehearsal room, and we used to practice here many moons ago.
Yes, we did.
So I was familiar with the space, and mate, I've just come in here and completely torn down what was in here. It was a bright blue room with red carpet all over the walls. And I mean, one of the ideas behind this place was to create cool content.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really have horrific coloured blue walls and crappy red carpet all over it, because it would make for a bad video. So anyway, so she's all black, decked it out, got a couple of kits. Probably the main thing The coolest thing in here right now is probably the mic setup and the recording setup. I've just got all new Audix mics. Now, if you're a drum nerd, I've got a couple of D6s. Honourable mention to those beautiful mics.
Nice.
And then a lovely new audio interface. And then I bought off our lovely singer Josh an 8-channel in. So I got 10 channels, which is pretty red hot for drums.
Awesome.
So man, that's cool. That's kind of what's been the big change in here. Just being able to record and create a whole bunch of content for myself and my students.
And the owners of the place, they're okay with you just coming in here and
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, they're fine.
doing your own
So
thing?
I actually don't know who owns it because it's a very large complex. There's a university out the back, and there's like lawyers in here, solicitors, Seth Sentry's upstairs.
Cool.
There's yoga and dance and all sorts of stuff happening here. But anyway, the guy who manages it, he was cool. I just kind of contacted them and said, "This is what I do. Here's my website. Blah blah blah. This is what I want to do. What are the rates?" And the rates were like quite nice. Compared to probably what they could have been.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty good deal, man. So I just jumped in here, and I've been here for like 8 months now.
Right.
Yeah,
That's flown.
it has, man.
So you had the idea of creating content before you even came in here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do it for years, and I was actually in Bali
Okay.
before I came back here. So I was in Bali on a holiday, and I was like, geez, I want to create cool content. I want to do constant drum videos for myself, my students, and you know, and develop online lessons and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, the thing that's stopping me is I don't have a spot to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't really, like at my old setup, I couldn't really have all these expensive mics and stuff because people could nick them or whatever. So then I literally just came home and spent 2 full days in here. I got the gear and just spent 2 days setting it up.
Yep.
You know how annoying Pro Tools is.
Absolutely.
And just how to get the hardware working, talking to the software. It's a friggin' nightmare. So, yeah, man, I've had the idea forever, and now I finally just got it, which
Right.
is sick. I can just whip up content whenever I want.
Yeah.
It's good for my students too. It gives them a bit of an end goal. Like if someone's in here learning drums, you know, instead of just an ongoing thing where they learn bit by bit, I can kind of give them a little journal, I guess.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like this term 1, boom, you did this. Term 2, this is harder, you learnt this. We implicated it in this way, and here's a cool little piece of content for you to document your journey
Yeah, cool.
type thing. So that's pretty cool.
Well, that was sort of one of my questions I was going to ask you. Like the idea behind creating content for your students, was that for their benefit? For yours, is it something that they can? I mean,
Well,
it was sort of unheard of. Like
yeah.
like back when I was sort of learning guitar and teaching guitar. Like
Yep.
we never. I mean, of course, that was back in the '90s, so we
Yeah. Yeah.
we couldn't record anything.
No.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, it comes from like, well, for me, I got into BCE through a video.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then I kind of got into Bliss N Eso essentially through videos as well. So, and that was before Facebook and YouTube. Not YouTube. YouTube had just come out when I put that video up for you guys.
Yep.
But no one was really doing videos back then. I should have kept at it, man, because who knows what would happen. But anyway, what I'm getting at is people ask for video content.
Yeah.
Like if someone's trying out for your band, you're like, okay, cool. What have you done? Show us how you play.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do that is just by looking at a video.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the best way of doing that is doing a video in one take without doing edits, because there's obviously different ways you can do content. For drums, you can like do multiple takes, multiple angles, and chop it up and edit the hell out of it.
Yep.
So, you know, you can get away, like it looks like you're absolutely dominating it, but a lot of the time guys are just moving hits around and stuff.
Yeah.
So what I like to do in here is just one angle, one take. You know what I mean? So it's clear, it's clean. This is where either I'm at or this is where my students are at. This is how they play. So if they go for an audition, there's no nasty surprises. Like you're not coming into a band with a heavily edited video lying to them.
Yep.
You're coming in one take, boom, here it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And not only like just off a phone or whatever, which you can do these days, but sounds good, looks good, it's pro. Like idea being, if if there's a spot in a band and two guys want to go for it, if one has boss content, it's got like 10 videos of him shredding, him grooving, playing hard, playing soft, whatever, and then the other guy's got no content. Like the dude who's got the content's probably gonna be the preferred pick initially, right?
Absolutely.
If you've got 50 guys applying for that spot, if there's one guy who's got an online following who's killing it, he's probably showing initiative. It just looks good. So that's the idea behind it. For my more advanced students who are looking to get into bands and whatnot, that's kind of what we're working on. And then for like some of the more beginners, it's more about documenting their journey so they can have something to show for their time and effort coming here. Instead of just coming here, no one knows. They might go away and post it up and all their friends can see, their family can see, and they can see and then come back and do another one and get better.
Absolutely. And that benefits you as well. Like,
yeah, it's good for me. It spreads the word about what's going on here. Because I think it's pretty... I mean, I do videos for external guys who don't get lessons, and I keep them in a good rate. So idea behind that is, as well, is it's expensive to hire out a good studio, get a good videographer. And a lot of musos obviously don't have that much money, so... The typical drummer's not going to want to spend $1,000 on a video. He's going to want to knock a quality one out for a little bit, a couple of hundred. So that's kind of the idea behind that.
Okay, 2 questions.
Yes.
How has been like what's the general reaction from your students when they see the video back the first time?
They love it.
Yeah,
they love it. I mean, it looks really good. It sounds really good. I mean, they use my kit predominantly.
Yep.
So I've kind of tuned that and EQ'd it so it sounds sick. And then we don't do them unless they're ready for them.
Yep.
So if someone's way off, we just don't do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we keep working till they're ready. So the reaction's always like, hell yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, no one's gone, that sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is good. Did I answer both those questions? Was there another?
There's another question. Have any of your students sort of scored any like drumming gigs like because of these videos?
From it?
Yeah.
That's a good question. At this point, no, I don't think.
Yeah.
Some of the better guys have been coming in and doing like playthroughs of their band's tracks.
Yep.
Meanwhile, with some of them as well, we pick up on things while they do it.
Right.
Like things you wouldn't necessarily pick up on in a lesson, like...
Drumming faces.
One guy wasn't rimming... One guy wasn't rim shotting every hit, right? So he'd rim shot a couple, it'd be super loud, and then he wouldn't rim shot the next one, and it would just sound weak. So it's like, dude, you got to work on your rim shots.
Yep.
Right? So little things like that. It definitely helps them with auditions and whatnot. In terms of getting gigs as such, not at this point, because they're all pretty much in bands already. A lot of those guys.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's very cool, man. It's very cool. Yeah.
And it's cool. Like everything's just set up, like ready to go. You've got the lights, you've got everything mic'd up.
Sick.
It's so easy.
Yeah, I got these cool lights off Brad Hurl, my mate. Kind of hooked me up with that. These are the studio lights, these big bright ones. So, man, it looks boss. And these Wild Eyes, Benny, he lends me his good camera sometimes.
Yeah, awesome. Which
is unreal. Like, you can kind of tell when I've got that because it looks crystal clear and beautiful. So, pretty lucky, man. Pretty lucky to have the setup.
So, how many students have you got now?
I've got sitting on about 40 between here and Ballarat. I teach in Ballarat once a fortnight. Probably got 10 guys down there or something like that, guys and girls.
And what have you learnt, like, from your students?
Oh,
like,
dude,
what is teaching all these?
I've learnt so much.
Yep.
I reckon I'm twice as good since I've been teaching.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's just brought back all the theory. It's brought back being tight. It's brought back being able to read. It's brought back listening to beats and being able to transcribe them heaps faster. It's made me more like rudiment orientated because I've got to teach that.
Yep.
And with some of my better guys, I've got to have something to offer them. So it keeps me kind of getting better in order to teach them. You know what I mean? So some guys will come in and they want advanced kind of lessons. So I kind of have to keep having fresh stuff for them.
Right.
So, I mean, it's taught me a lot about drumming. I've
Yep.
jumped right back into it. Because I was kind of just playing for a while. So teaching's, I immerse myself in drums. Yeah, I do it every day. Even playing to a click, it's got me better at recording, EQing drums, getting drum sounds, everything.
Yeah.
So it's completely made me a lot better at what I do. Yeah.
And going back to being here at Kindred,
Yep.
as opposed to your last setup, even though you're sort of, you're stuck in here most of the day, what's it like sort of being in an environment full of creative people? Like,
It's
because
sick.
there's all sorts of different creative spaces here
There is, yep.
in this complex.
Um,
So you've got creative people coming and going
Coming
all
and
day,
going all the time, yeah.
hanging out in the foyer, at the cafe.
It's good, man. I've met a few cool people. I mean, I do predominantly sit in here all night because I work during the day.
Yep.
But I mean, it's a good vibe. There's a cafe there. I can duck out and have a little bit of food, a
Yeah.
bit of a coffee. I
Yep.
can have a little break from being in the studio. Friends with the guys in the cafe. It's a good vibe. Seth Sentry's upstairs. He's an old friend of mine. So I mean, it's cool to kind of be around that and see what he's doing. And I think Briggs is up there too. But whatever. Yeah, it's good, man. There's like yoga teachers here, dancing teachers here. They're all kind of doing something similar to me, just in a different field.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, cool.
yeah, it's cool. It's cool to keep an eye on them, see how hard they're working. Compared to
Absolutely.
myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Keeps me in check.
Yeah. Teaching aside,
Yep.
how has, like, you can compare the last studio to this studio.
Yep.
How has this sort of affected your sort of creativity in your own writing?
It allows me to actually do demos and stuff now. I'm due for a Behind Crimson Eyes one. But I've been doing some Bliss N Eso stuff from here, which is super easy. They're right in Sydney at the minute.
Okay, right.
They've got like a couple of producers. They've got the keyboard player, composers. They've got like a house full of gurus up there. So when they need drum parts, they just simply hit me up, send me the track, the BPM, and then I lay down the grooves in here.
Yep.
I've got the couple of kits to kind of jump between, and just essentially just record and then send it off, and then they do what they have to do it up there.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean that's opened me up to that, which is cool because obviously recording drums is a nightmare normally. I mean it's not record worthy in here.
Yeah.
But it's very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just that bit you were playing for me earlier. Like,
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's very
For what
good.
it
It's
is.
it's the sound I like. I've got like the acrylic kit, which is punchy and attacky, and then these mics are EQ'd for punchy and big modern sounding drums,
yep.
essentially. So the combo together, they sound rocking how I like them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So, I mean, yeah, it's been good. I can do demos and
Yep.
stuff from here. Yeah. I'm sure I could probably get it to the point where I could even do proper recordings. I don't think it's too far off.
Yep.
Yeah, depending on, I mean, the project,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Well, far out, that'd be amazing. I mean, the price you pay for a good drum room.
Oh, dude. Man, and it also opens up the whole... I mean, I've answered a few of my own questions by doing this. I always thought that getting drums was an extremely difficult thing. And I think it might not be as difficult as what it can be presented as being at times.
Right, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think that's because of old school methods or
No,
the
I
technology available now?
I don't know, man. I just feel like I've set the kit up in here. I mean, I've essentially done nothing to the room. I've got good mics. I've got a good interface. I know the sound that I like. And I feel like I'm pulling good sounds.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, sometimes I've recorded drums and the sounds just aren't good.
Yep.
I don't know whether it's the drums. Maybe it's a combination of things, I'm sure. But anyway, what I'm getting at is maybe it doesn't need to be that difficult.
You know what? A lot of producers aren't drummers.
Are drummers?
Aren't.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a drummer. You know what you like.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah. I mean,
It-
I'm sure if you got me in a better room there's better mics you can obviously get, you know. But I mean, yeah, this is pretty bloody good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've paid a lot to get drums that don't sound as good as these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in terms of in terms of writing, obviously you're in BCE,
Yep.
Bliss N Eso, and
Yep.
28 Days.
Yep.
What's the differences between sort of writing styles and
Yeah.
processes like
Yep. Well,
between those bands?
with BCE, obviously the last few years we've had yourself and Liam do a lot of the writing. What'd you say?
Nothing.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of the writing. It's a lot of MIDI stuff. And then pretty much on my end, all I've really got to do is tweak it so it's a little more drummer friendly, I guess. Or we clean up bits or whatever, you know. It always changes from the demo. So that's that kind of process. And it's a little more drum orientated, I would say, that style of music can be a little more busy.
Absolutely.
Whereas with hip hop, I mean, same thing. They have producers a lot of the time, so they'll either get beats or work on beats with particular guys,
Right.
Which is completely different, man. Because in the heavy music world, like we write the music, like the band writes the beats.
Yeah.
In the hip hop world, they work with multiple producers,
Right.
So that's kind of cool because they can just friggin' get beats from anyone.
Yep,
You
yep.
know, which bands can do that too, but they generally don't.
Yep.
So there's a whole world of like creativity and just being able to do whatever the hell you want and work with whoever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And then obviously you tweak it from there. So I mean, they still write all the hooks and they do everything, but essentially it starts from someone else a lot of the time,
Interesting.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of recording drums for B&E, like a lot of the time it's sampled drums.
Yep,
Just
yep.
in hip hop, that's kind of
Yeah,
how it rolls. I have done a couple of tracks with them. I did their Creedence Clearwater Revival cover.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
For
Yep.
we did like a TVC for Super Cheap Auto.
Yep. Was that the first actual recording you've?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was my first recording with Bliss N Eso, which was
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
It was like, because it's like a rock song essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually went into the studio, Bass Studios in South Melbourne, which is sick. It's run by a guy called Phil.
Okay.
Used this acrylic kit and super easy, man. Rolled in there, took the acrylic drums.
Yep.
2 hours, laid down, like didn't even really know what I was playing, just kind of made it up on the spot.
Yep.
Or just worked through things with him. And yeah, man, it was sick. It sounded amazing. So that was cool to actually be on a track with them.
Yep. Yep.
But it wasn't really heavily pushed by them. It was more for the TV commercial, and they just kind of did a shoot off, an off cut kind
Yep,
of track,
yep.
which was cool. I mean, it's a classic track, so it was
Absolutely.
sick to be
Yeah,
on
sounds
that.
rad.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Just looking over there, you got the Monster Energy.
Oh, yeah.
Fridge in
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah, unleash the beast.
You've been working at Monster for how many years now?
Oh, dude, 7 maybe.
7,
A long
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your daytime
That's
job.
the bread and butter
obviously.
during the
It's
day.
the
Yeah.
bread and butter.
How the hell
mean,
does that work?
Well, yeah. Well, how important is it to have that as a backup?
Yep.
When trying to build your own brand, your own business, and
Very, very good question. And I've thought about this a lot. Now, I'm very lucky with Monster,
Yeah.
first and foremost. So,
because I mean, Monster, the brand itself, would only help you as well.
yeah, it works very well. I'm very on brand, we call it. My manager at work calls me very on brand.
Right.
So, I mean, that started from Behind Crimson Eyes,
Right.
believe it or not. We played a festival at the Tennis Centre, the Underage Festival.
Yes. I
Yeah.
remember that.
And Monster were there. They had like their sampling team there.
Yep.
And they were kind of parked out the back of the stage. And anyway, I remember seeing it. I'd seen it online a little bit. It was very new here at that point. So I didn't know what it was. I'd seen all the images. Like this big black truck with like girls hanging off it. And like, it just looked cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I saw it at the gig and I went up and I was like, fire, what's this? Like, oh, it's a drink. Okay. And then anyway, turns out I knew the dude's sister. I went to school with her, the
Right.
dude who ran it. So it was Jason Willie.
Right. Yeah.
And anyway, I got to chatting to him and he was stoked. He started kind of hooking us up a little bit with product and singlets and tees and stuff. And anyway, I wore some of the T-shirts when we played shows and I sent him pictures
Yep.
because I was like, this is a sick brand. I want to be associated.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
one thing led to another. I started just working for them on their sample team, which is like you go to cool events and you're sampling or you're dropping off product to athletes' house or whatever. It was a pretty sick job. And then I got a sales job through that years ago. And I mean, it's evolved a lot since then, the actual job itself, to the point now where I'm the only guy in Victoria and I look after all of the sales and essentially business down here for the brand, and we're distributed through CCA. So we've essentially got a sales team of 300 plus reps on the road, and I'm the monster guy that works with them in various different channels. You know, and then also on the side of that, they get myself and Jason to play DJ Bags all of their gigs. Yeah. So like we do like Supercross, UFC, V8 supercars. We do the Clipsal 500 every year. Yeah, I think we've got the X Games this year in Sydney. So it's always sick gigs, and they're right on brand with my bands and my drumming brand. So it works really well. They've been very supportive. I've done a few kind of long tours in between, and they've let me do that. And, you know, they all know kind of who I am, the guys overseas, the marketing guys. Know I'm the owner came to the UFC. He played guitar for us that day. Did. There's two owners of the brand. He actually came to the UFC and loved it. Yeah, he's like, awesome. The salesman, the drummer, yeah. So that was pretty sick. Yeah, sick. So man, it works really well. You know, I'm sure I couldn't be doing gigs I'm sure that my job's very rare in the sense of I'm a sales guy / drummer for the. I mean, that's rare.
Absolutely, it's like it's a perfect combination in the sense that it works.
Yeah,
it works really well.
It works really well. So yeah, we've got some sick gigs coming up with that. Like Supercross, not Supercross, bloody X Games will be sick. First time it's been here in years and years, or ever maybe. Yeah, yeah. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, I can't remember it being here.
Yeah, we played we did a pit party in the V8s earlier this year. Yeah. So like they unveil all their new cars, right? Yes. So we played like Monster sponsor, Cam Waters, and it was his car. So kind of in the pits before the Clipsal starts, like myself and Jace did like a little 20-minute showcase. There's just cool little things like that. Yeah. So that was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you know, it's helped not only give you the freedom to do this, but it would have helped like build your own brand. Yeah. Which, you know, you only have to look at your online presence to see that you've done like a really good job with that. Yeah. And that's you know, how has that sort of helped bring in business, like bringing students and stuff? Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that you sort of do a lot of advertising or anything like that.
Nah. It's predominantly online. Yep. Yeah, a lot through Instagram and Facebook as well. You know, that's why the online content's important too, because you kind of got to be a little bit in people's faces. So absolutely, if they're looking for, say, drum lessons, or if they've thought about it, if you're kind of the guy that's there in front of them, then you're probably going to be the first one they call. Indeed. You know, and then it's also got a particular look about it as well. So I generally get a particular kind of drummer that comes to me. Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't get a lot of kids. Got a lot of kids in Ballarat for whatever reason, but down here it's generally like people in their 20s, 30s. So yeah, I think that's got a lot to do with the content that I create and probably the groups I play in and stuff as well. Paints a picture of the kind of drummer I am. Yep, absolutely. And then attracts drummers that are similar to me. Yeah. Yep, understand exactly. But yeah, the online stuff is crucial. Yeah. I wouldn't even know where to start without it. Yeah. I mean, you'd be handing out flyers at schools or something. Yep. The old school. The old school, man. And
as you sort of built your profile and your brand, I guess along with that comes endorsements.
Yes.
Tell us about those.
Well, endorsements are very, very good, for one. I've got a lot to say about this topic, so I'll dive into it quickly. Go for it. So it all started with Behind Crimson Eyes. Okay. I mean, that's really where it started. So prior to that, I was in a local band. You know, we were doing some good shows. We were a good band, but we weren't probably at the level where you'd get endorsed as such, because obviously they look for profile one. These days, online profile is a new thing. You know, they're looking for someone who can give back to their business. They don't want to just throw gear at someone who just takes it and does nothing or doesn't get seen. So anyway, so I did that video that got me into BCE, right? And then when I joined BCE, Garth, our bass player, was like, "Oh, dude, you know, our old drummer Cam was sponsored by Zildjian and DW and Vic Berth and Remo." So he's like, "I'll introduce you to the guy." So Garth, the legend, kind of introduced me, and obviously BCE was doing really well at that point. So I sent him the video that I sent you as well. So like a bit of a showcase on my drumming, and then that was it. Yeah, man. So that's how that's kind of started. So it was Zildjian, Vic Berth, Remo to start off with. And that was amazing, man, especially Zildjian, because, I mean, you get free cymbals when you crack them. You have a lifetime warranty. So,
that's awesome.
I mean, up till that point, I was broke. And I still was broke.
Cymbals.
Man, cymbals are like $600 a pop. So
It's crazy.
I was a uni student
Yeah.
and like just smashing cymbals in my bands on the side. You know, go through like a couple of grand of cymbals a year.
We used to play shows and we'd see drummers from other bands like just playing with these shithouse cymbals that were cracked and split.
It's so expensive. If you're trying to be in a band, I mean, it's already hard enough. But if you want to have good gear, I mean, Jesus, it's hard. I remember there was a point where I was buying like Stag cymbals, which are cheap. You know, you might get a Crash for $150, and they sounded okay. But like at that point, you just couldn't justify. I couldn't justify spending big money. So when I got that was epic, especially Zildjian. You know, so and then obviously later was Pearl Drums as well. But I mean, with them, the way that I look at that is, you want to provide them back.
Absolutely.
So like some kids will come to me, or, you know, guys on the way up, and they want endorsements and they all bang on about it. And it's kind of not really the way to go about it. I mean, some people kind of think that when you're endorsed, it's like a stamp of approval, right? Which is, in some ways, it is, but it's really not the way to look at it. You want to look at it as a relationship between a company where you can provide them back with something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a
So
two-way street.
and develop relationships. I mean, I've been with Zildjian since that day, which is probably 10 years ago. Like a long time ago. And even when there's been quiet spells with the bands I'm in, they've always been there. And they haven't left. So, I mean, there's loyalty there. So no matter what happens on my end, I'll always be there. But yeah, I mean, I develop content for them as well. So like one example of that, you know, instead of just getting free cymbals and thinking you're a hero because you're sponsored, it's I think of like, okay, well, what can I do to help them back? You know, so they released this new line of cymbals, the S family, and Josh Dunn from 21 Pilots did this sick video of him in the studio playing their cymbals or whatever, promoting it. So I hit up Justin over here and I was like, who's doing that in Oz? Like, is anyone doing that? You know, and there wasn't. So I was like, leave it with me. I'll come up with something for you. So I went, got an engineer, got a sick videographer, Peter at Epic Films, man, and I created this bit of content where I was drumming down by the Docklands with Melbourne behind me. So it was kind of like a bit of like a unique piece in the sense of a lot of the people who are on those socials aren't from Melbourne. So you're seeing a drummer ripping in front of Melbourne. It's different, right?
Absolutely.
And man, I shot on a red camera. It was this full kind of probably $5,000 production. So anyway, I mean, that was an example of me giving back to Zildjian. So like,
so you didn't like
I just
really
said,
had nothing to do with it.
I said, what do you want me to? I said, give me some guidelines. So they're like, okay, talk. You want to talk a little bit? Just say what you think about the cymbals, and then create some, you know, you drum in. So obviously I hit up Bliss N Eso. I was like, fuck, I got this cool opportunity to do a sick vid for Zildjian. Are you cool if I use one of your tracks? You know, and it goes out to thousands of people, so they're pumped. Like Bliss was keen, and then, you know, and then the videographer gets excited because it's going out to a lot of people and it's cool. Then the audio guy gets excited. So it's kind of I ended up getting a really cool. Everyone wins, yeah. So I mean that's cool, and then also you can leverage their socials as well. But I mean, you got to pick and choose why you want to leverage their socials. If you're just playing drums, you don't really need to leverage anyone's socials if you're in a band or whatever already. But if you're like selling drum lessons, or you've got a drum school, or you want to bring some attention to what you're doing, then it's always cool to, you know, get a shout out from them or whatever, bring some awareness to what you're doing, or your band's music or whatever. So that's been very cool, man. Another new one I've got is Audix mics have kind of come on board. They've been friggin' awesome. They've helped me out a lot. I met the owners at NAMM this year over in the US, which was cool. It's a husband and a wife. So it's essentially it's a family business.
Yeah.
Speaking of businesses, Zildjian's the longest running American family-run business.
Is it really?
Yes.
There you
Still
go.
run by the Zildjians.
Wow.
It's 400 years old.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's sick. So, I mean, there's a bit of history there. I mean, that's an epic brand.
They're making like Viking gongs or something.
Yeah, I
400
don't know
years
what
ago,
they were
like-
doing, man. Turkish, I think.
Turkish.
Yeah.
right.
Who knows? But anyway, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, sponsorships is very cool. But, I mean, for me, a lot of it is giving them something and then they can offer interesting and different things back to you, not necessarily product based.
Yep. Right.
Like
Yep.
I went to NAMM this year. I was in the Vic Firth and Zildjian booth because they're the same company now. So that was cool. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So using it that way, and just being thoughtful about how you ask for things and go about things. I mean, for example, I gave back. I covered all of their new products. AMS is the distributor. Covered all their new products in the Drum Scene magazine this year.
Yep.
You know, for free.
Yeah,
I
yep.
went to NAMM, checked out their products, got photos with the artists, blah blah blah,
Yep.
and kind of did a write up on all of their products. So they like that because one of their artists is doing it, and it's good for me because it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool, man. It's a good. I mean, I've got great relationships with the guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's cool. And having these products that they've either given you or given you a nice discount on, it's obviously benefited your writing and things like that. Having
huge.
access to this.
yeah, I mean, like say, Pearl have got drums you can use here. You know, they've got backline kits. Like when you tour, you use backline kits for free. If you're in the studio, you've got backline kits you can use for free. Zildjian have a whole bunch of cymbals. You can use like just any cymbal essentially you want to record with. So yeah, I mean, it's super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even at Unify this year, I interviewed a lot of the AMS artists for AMS to develop some content for them, which helps me too because my face is everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's healthy.
Talking about NAMM, you were over there earlier this year.
Yes.
You've also, I mean, you've done quite a bit of travelling over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
How's that? Has that, have you found that that's sort of inspired you and sort
Hell
of
yeah.
motivated
Hell
you
yeah,
and
man.
helped you kind of like reset or,
Yeah, absolutely.
when it comes to writing and being creative?
Yeah. I mean, so Bali, I went to Bali a little while back, and I literally couldn't do anything there.
Yeah.
I was in like a resort or whatever, and there's no internet kind of thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
nothing to do.
You get to
So I
switch
just
off.
start thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like shit, I need to get back and start making things happen. So that was cool. But I say like going to America and being at NAMM and being around those drummers
Yep.
and like being in the room with them is just a good reminder that you're not necessarily stuck anywhere or like things can happen.
Yep.
And that's right there. You're in the room with Adrian Young you're sitting next to Frank Zumo from Sum 41. Next to him is Adrian Young. On the other side of me is Dave Weckel.
Yep.
That's like, fuck, you're sitting here. This is pretty good. So it's like a little reminder that things can happen.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
So it's motivating to just come back and work even harder. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So that's good eye opener, and it's good to get to another country like the US, a big country, and just remind yourself that like the world's bigger than Melbourne, the world's bigger than Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's huge, and opportunity is limitless, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I love going to the US all the time as well.
Absolutely. One thing I've also noticed, just
Yep.
from your online content, is there's been a lot of running videos and stuff recently. What's to go with that? I mean, obviously, fitness plays an important part
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
healthy body, healthy
Yes.
mind. you know?
Yep. I mean, the go with that was myself and a couple of friends decided to do half marathon.
Okay.
So, like, it's a long way, but it's not, like, outrageous.
Yeah.
One of my good mates, big old Matty O, is a really good Ironman. So he was training me for about.
Ironman?
He's an Ironman.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's a big wine swiller too, but he's an Ironman underneath all of that. So anyway, yeah, he's a really good coach, man. So he just kind of coached me. It was just something to do, really, to focus on cardio. I mean, I've done quite a lot of weights in the past, but I hadn't really concentrated on cardio. So I've been running a lot, and I've still been running.
Yep.
So that was really good, man. I was doing half marathons on the weekends and 2 runs during the week. So I was probably doing 45, 50 Ks a week for a while there.
Yep.
To the point where when I got to the run, it was kind of easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was more of just a pace challenge. So obviously it gets harder the faster you go.
I can imagine.
You gotta plan it out well. But I beat my time by like 10 minutes, which was cool. I had another mate who did it, who's a 105 kilo muscle man, bodybuilder essentially. Simon, he did it. He did the whole marathon for charity.
Right.
Yeah, I think he raised 10 grand, which was huge for Beyond Blue. And then Bliss from Bliss N Eso did it. He did the half marathon. I only beat him by 5 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Because he's been on like a full keto diet and he's lost 20 kilos. So that was cool, man. It was a good fun thing to kind of lock down and do. Kept me out of trouble on the weekends. Gave me something to focus on.
Yep.
You know, and I was getting massive doses of the runner's high.
Yeah. Awesome.
Which is good.
And you've continued.
Still, yeah. So, I mean, I started getting a little bit thin. So, I've kind of started doing weights again.
Yep.
And I'm doing about probably 1 run a week at the minute.
Okay.
Like I might do like 12, 15 Ks
Yep.
just to kind of keep it there so it doesn't completely fade away. You know, and I'll probably do a marathon at some point, I reckon. I'd like to do the LA marathon.
Right.
As like more of a fun thing. Because like something like that, you start in the Dodgers Stadium and you end down on Santa Monica Pier. So you kind of run through all the landmarks. Like something like that.
Yep.
Like I'd do a marathon for that. But
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
not
cool.
real keen on doing a marathon in Melbourne in winter. or
Probably
anything.
die from the fumes over there.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. So anyway, something like that would be sick.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
been cool. It's been a nice little change to incorporate
No
that
running
into the
shoe
routine.
sponsors.
No,
horizons yet?
nah, man, running shoes. Oh, dude, I did get some sick Nikes that ruined my legs though.
Really?
Got to
heard
get
they
the
do
right
that.
shoes for you, for yourself. Yeah, running problems.
Yeah.
Running problems, and I'm
yeah.
not fast enough.
You're not fast enough.
Nah, like when grandmas are running past you, you know that you're not going to get a shoe sponsor, so don't bother.
But they've been doing it for 80 years.
Yeah, that's
you know?
right. Yeah.
The last thing really is what do you do to switch off?
Well,
At the end of the day, I mean, you're
Yeah,
working during the day. You're teaching
work during
at
the
night,
day, working at night.
You know,
So what I do as one of my favourite things to do, say it's a Friday night and I'm not really working.
Yeah.
I might go down to JB Hi-Fi and buy the latest PS4 game.
nice.
It's been a new thing I've been doing. And mate, I get home and I just don't talk to anyone.
Yep.
I don't even really talk to Jen. Unfortunately, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Playing the games. I get attacked by zombies. Leave me alone. I'll tell you later. Oh, fuck, zombie just got me. Fuck. What do you want?" And that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, man, I've been playing video games, which is I've been doing for the last couple of years. Not heaps, man. Like I might do it 1 hour a week, hour and a half a week or something like that. Because I've got a lot of stuff. I mean, I've got a girlfriend. I obviously hang out with her when I'm home because I'm not home that much. So I have to hang out with her. Obviously, I love hanging out with her.
Yeah.
Video games, man. I just finished Detroit, which is a new game where you're an android robot.
Right.
Right? And essentially what happens is it's the rise of the robots.
Okay.
So the robots are so intelligent that they have feelings. Right. So it's kind of based on a lot of I feel like social situations, either past or present, and probably a problem that we will have one day. Whereas when is the AI going to be so smart that it's an issue and we have to really worry about it? So, I mean, these robots. It's funny we're talking about video games, but these robots, they they cook, they clean, they take your kid to school, blah blah blah.
Right.
You know, they're like
Yep.
do that kind of stuff. And it kind of, the robots have feelings, and then you 3 robot characters,
Okay.
right? And the way the game works is you have choices. You can say this, or this. You can act this. So a situation will come up and you choose what happens.
Right.
And then at the end of the level as such, it shows you the path you took.
Okay.
Right. And it shows you all the other multiple paths that could have taken.
Right.
So when I play the game, it's going to be different to when you play the game. Because if you're a robot and you choose to bow down to the humans, it goes this way.
Right.
If you choose to stand up and fight them, it goes this way.
Right.
If you fight them aggressively, it's this way. If you try to talk to them, it's this way. So that was kind of cool.
Okay.
It's pretty nerdy, but it was pretty cool. Real issues that will probably pop up at some point, in one way or another.
A game you can probably play several times over.
Absolutely. Like Matty O been playing it, and he's already had a different things are happening to him that didn't happen to me.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of it almost touches on slavery, I feel. It's almost kind of going down that path because these robots are slaves, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
But they got feelings, you know.
Right.
They're not meant to have feelings, but they got feelings. So then it's like, well, what do you decide to do?
Maybe we're coming full circle.
Yeah, man, because you can be the robot who is, raising up against the humans, and you also play the character of the robot who's a detective who's trying to take down the free robots.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, you can favour the police robot, or you can favour the robot who wants the freedom. I went with the freedom robot.
The freedom robot.
Yeah, the freedom
Nice.
robot. Man, because the humans were so mean.
Yeah.
They were brutal to the robots. I was like, fuck this. You know. But it prompts
Interesting.
you to do such things.
Yep.
It prompts you to do such things. So anyway, that's what I've been doing.
Very interesting.
Very fun, man, because I'm not thinking about drums. I'm not thinking about gigs. I'm not thinking about what's coming up,
Yep.
what I've got to do. You know, and I try to get the shit done that I have to do done. Like if I've got student videos hanging over my head, or if I've got my own video, I've got songs I've got to learn, or things I've got to work on in a set for a gig or whatever, like it, I try to get that shit done so I can unwind.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's funny you're talking about AI and robots and that, because that sort of leads me into, I've got 5 questions.
Yes.
5 final questions that I plan on sort of asking all the guests.
Yes.
I have on 5 same questions. Haven't come up with any witty name for them or anything.
Yeah.
So
The lucky
the first
5.
one is
Fantastic
your
5.
thoughts on a universal basic income. So this is an idea. It's been around for a long time. There's a few countries that have started to implement it, and with the rise of AI and robots and automation in the workforce, a lot of people, especially in the driving, the automotive industry, like a lot of people are going to be out of jobs.
Yes.
Self-driving taxis and Ubers and stuff. So the idea is that the government would make these weekly, monthly, yearly payments. So to everyone in the country. So basically, your rent and your bills, you're always going to have a roof over your head and your bills paid for, essentially. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to it, but the way I sort of look at it, it would sort of, if I didn't have rent and stuff to worry about, what would I do? Like, would I still work my full-time job? Would I cut down my hours? It would definitely enable me to spend more time doing the things I love, like writing music and hanging out with the family. And, but obviously there's a downside that it could make people more lazy. I just sort of wondered what your
my
thoughts
are.
were, and if you had your bills paid for, what
would I do?
What would you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very good question. Obviously, it would affect different people in different ways.
Absolutely.
Some people don't need it. Some people need it. So, I mean, I have actually been reading a book that relates to this.
Okay.
And the book is called Bullshit Jobs.
Right.
And basically, I listened to Joe Rogan the other day. Duncan Trussell was on there.
Yep.
And he'd been reading it and he was talking about it. And I was
Right,
like, fuck, I need to get this book. So I went and got the audio book. And basically, what it's about is very similar to this. Technology has essentially made things easier for us to the sense that, like you were saying, a lot of jobs that people do are a lot easier now and a lot more efficient due to technology,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you don't necessarily need to work 40 hours a week in order to get that same job done because there's
Mm-hmm.
automation, there's online ordering, et cetera,
Yeah.
for whatever it may be. So what this book is saying is that a lot of people can actually get their job done in 1 or 2 hours a day,
Right.
and then they've got nothing to do all day.
Mm-hmm.
And the effects that have on people, like whether it makes them feel worthless or like their job's not meaningful or whatever. I've lost my train of thought. But where the fuck am I going with that?
Try and reel it back.
Reel it back.
Reel it back.
Anyway, so that's about AI,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
AI is making things easier.
Yeah, yeah.
So one way of looking at it, the book is basically saying that a guy predicted in 100 years, people can do their jobs in 15 hours a week, and it's going to be great because they're still going to get paid, and they're going to have all this free time. But what's happened is we're just filling our time with shit
Yeah.
in between, like useless admin. Except a lot of jobs obviously aren't that. Nurses are an example of a job who's just they're always working,
Yep.
very useful. But there's a lot of like middle management type roles which are just shit.
Yep.
You know, you're filling your time with crap because technology's made it easier. So, I mean, that kind of comes back to that question as in AI is making jobs disappear,
Yep.
right? So, the other question that pops up for me would be, if AI has the ability to make, say, 500,000 taxi drivers' jobs disappear, or however many taxi drivers there are here, at what point do you stop it?
Yep.
Like, do you go, okay, well, we've got these self-driving cars, but if we roll these out, one company's going to get super, super wealthy, but there's going to be 500,000 fucking taxi drivers who can't work. What do we do there?
So you think the government might just not allow it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, surely it's got to reach a point where they've got to go, well, we can do it, but are we going to do it? I don't know. That's
So we can either save thousands of lives potentially each year,
Yeah.
or put 3 times as many
'cause
out of work.
Exactly, man, because the way they kind of... Well, that's exactly it. I mean, it depends. It just depends how you look at it. There's like an economical side, a financial side, and then there's like a social side.
Yep, yep.
If you're saving lives, how many lives are you saving? And at what price are
Yeah.
you saving them?
Yeah,
And
that's it.
at what value is someone's life? They're all questions that I'm sure these people have to think about.
Yep.
But anyway, basic income would be freaking sick. I would have loved it when I was 20.
Absolutely.
Could have just gone to uni, cruised through it,
Yeah.
done shows, worked on music,
Yeah.
and not had to think, shit, I broke another cymbal.
Yep.
How the fuck am I going to pay rent this
Yeah,
week?
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Mom.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure to a lot of people it would help out heaps, you know? Do we kind of have something like that with the doll, though? Different.
Yeah, but I think
Because America doesn't have anything like the doll, do they? I don't think so.
they call it welfare.
I don't know.
I think
the
watch enough
meals.
TV to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think it'd be awesome.
It'd be sick.
Personally,
Yeah.
I would. I would still work,
Yeah.
but I would
It'd be
work
different.
on
Your terms.
my terms,
Yeah.
doing things that I love.
Yeah.
And of course, if I want to make more money, I'm gonna work more.
Yeah.
It'd
be
But
good.
It would just, it would sort of allow you and enable you to start your own business. If you're, if you're looking to start your own
Have
business,
the freedom.
have the
and
freedom to do it,
time.
and the time.
Yep.
Not have to worry about working
9 to
for
5
20 hours a day.
and then working. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gets draining. If you work all day and then you got to work all night. See, I only teach drums Wednesdays and Thursday nights. I do every second Tuesday night. But I mean, I used to do, well, this week I'm doing Monday too. But so this week coming up, I'll do Monday night. I've got videos. Then
Yep.
I work all night. Tuesday night in Ballarat. I get home about 11.
Yeah.
And then I teach till probably 10 on Wednesday. I teach till 10 on Thursday. It's I don't see Jen till Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then the week after, I have the Monday night off. So that's kind of nice. But, yeah, it gets draining,
Absolutely.
But I mean, I'm lucky because I have a little bit of freedom with my monster job. But, I mean, if I was in an office 9 to 5 and then I had to go and teach drums, it would be a nightmare, I reckon.
Yep.
I can get monster. I can work early for monster, knock it out early, have a few hours, and then start work, you know.
Yep.
So that's really good. But yeah, I guess it's just you got to weigh up the price or the cost of time versus money versus what you want to do.
That's it.
That's what it comes down to. And time is always moving very quickly. So it's a very
Does indeed.
yeah, it's a very. I think about that a lot more now, like time versus money.
Yeah.
What I'm giving up to get something.
Yep.
And if it's worth it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, that's another interesting conversation that could be had. Just about time. It moves so freaking quickly. If you want to get something done, you've got to do it now.
Yep. Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
like 6 months just rolls through like nothing. And, you know, it's very
Really
easy to
does.
just get nothing done in a year. You can just do the same shit for a whole year and a year's gone.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, well,
Yep.
I better do something this year. And then another year rolls on.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, I've been talking about this for 3 years and I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's amazing how like your mindset changes as you get older and you realize these things.
Yes.
And, you know, circumstances change and things happen that make you realize this. But it's like, man, if I was 20, like, and I thought about the world and things as I do now.
Yeah.
Man, what would I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of
rolls on to the next one.
rolls on to the next one,
Yeah.
which is actually the last question I had here, but fuck it, we'll do it now.
Yeah. Flip up
You
the
know,
order.
If you could have a conversation with your 18-year-old self, what advice would you give him?
I would tell him to go hard or go home, big boy. Nah, I'd be like, dude, get your shit together fast.
Yep.
I would try to, man, I was dumb. I still am dumb. But, like, I mean, I was slow. You think you got unlimited time when you're a kid. You're like, that'll be sweet, man. I'll do it later. It'll happen later. It'll happen later. Still making moves forward, but, like, I'd be really just trying to knuckle down really fast and figure out what the hell I want to do, what the hell I want to get done before I'm 30, and just try to make a timeline and try to make it happen. Like, I wish I was touring when I was, like, 18 or 19.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could sleep at your mum's house and you're not an idiot.
Yeah.
Not that you're an idiot if you do when you're older, but you don't want to be fucking 30 sleeping at your mum's when, you know, you're a man.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Your
yeah.
values change. Like when you're a kid, it's sweet. I'd just try my nuts out to get into a band and tour the hell out of it while you can. While money's not so much an issue, you don't have to stress about a family or friggin' your own rent or buying a house or whatever. You just get out and do that. But yeah, I'd just probably try to make things happen a bit faster and just work a bit harder and be a little bit more concentrated on working as opposed to piss farting around partying and doing useless shit.
Yep.
As you do when you're a kid.
As you do. As you do.
That would probably be my advice.
Strong advice.
Yeah.
Smart advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think mine might have been much the same.
Yeah. Put your head down and work hard.
Absolutely.
And just get shit done now while
Absolutely.
you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're... Well, there we go.
Someone's firing up next door.
They are. If you're suffering from writer's block, like if you you know you're trying to write some parts, whatever, what's your go-to move? Like what do you do? Like
well, for me, I don't really suffer too much from it because I never really write.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, like a creativity block, say.
Yeah.
Creativity block. So, say if we put it in the context of what I do. So, say I've got a section I have to come up. So the other week I had to come up with like a little drum solo, or I had to come up with a set intro for Bliss N Eso, right?
Yep.
So I just, with something like that, I just break down what I have to do. What's like, for example, what song are we starting with?
Yep.
You know, and I don't know if this is answering the question, but I just break down what's required, and then go from there, man. Like say something like that. It's like, okay, we're going to start. So it's like, let's do a drum intro. That's what they've said. Do a drum intro. So I'm like, oh fuck, okay.
Right.
Well then it's like, okay, well what song do we start with? Okay, we start with this song. Cool. I was like, what tempo is it? Okay, cool. Imagine the gig. What gig are we doing? It's like an outdoor big festival thing. It's going to be drunk people everywhere going wild. They want something loud, big, and fat. You know. So it's like, okay, Well, that's who I'm playing for.
Yep.
I just break down the job.
Yeah, so you essentially got like a process.
The
And
process. Okay,
yeah.
what is it? Where
Yep.
is it? Who are we doing it for? How long do you want it for? That
Yep.
30 seconds. Drum intro. Do something sick. I'm like, cool.
Yep.
I don't want to just get up and just wing it
Yep.
because if you wing it in front of that many
Bound
people,
to turn to
shit
shit.
just freaking goes wrong. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll do a structured thing. I got into the track, I broke down like the samples, I chopped up, found the coolest samples, chopped it up, put it in the grid
Yep.
at the tempo, so it makes sense, it flows in nicely. So like
Yep.
something like that, you know, I could have been potentially stuck on that because it's like, we'll do something cool for 30 seconds. And then you're like, well, shit, what's that?
Yep.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
So I just break it down logically like that. Yeah, in terms of drums, I just break it down logically. I find out the tempo, the style, what's required, and then just kind of work backwards from there. And I also keep in mind it doesn't have to be the sickest thing ever. A lot of time when you have to do something, you think it's got to be the sickest thing ever. But it's like the reality is you can just do something basic and big and fat, and it's going to make even probably a better impression, especially like with drums. If you want to get up there and shred the shit out of it and play as many hits as you can, goes over a lot of people's heads.
Yep.
And probably doesn't sound as cool as just doing something big and fat.
Yep.
I also keep that in the back of my mind, and I keep in the back of the mind that no one cares too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you go to a gig and you make one, you know, you might hit a snare late. You trip on it. Fuck, I hit that snare late.
Yep.
But no one knows.
No one cares.
People
Yep.
in the band don't even know. No one cares. Like, you get up and just do something basic, and no one gives a shit. They're just drinking beers, and they want to see something cool.
Yep.
That's another little thing I remind myself.
Yeah,
No one really cares.
Yep.
No one really knows. As long as you don't monumentally stuff up, you're sweet. So do something that you're very capable of doing, as opposed to something that's on the tip of breakpoint.
Absolutely.
If that
Beautiful
answers
words.
that question.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. What's one thing you wish they taught you in school?
Oh, money and business. I wish someone sat me down and said, this is how money works. This is how like property works. This is what you need to do this. This is how you buy a house. This is how you bloody make money. This is how you save money. This is how tax works when you start your own business. This is, man, I still want to learn that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like just like little business tips.
Yeah.
Like if you want to start your own thing, how do you do it correctly? How do you make the most of your position? What benefits are there for someone who's starting their own business, small business? What you must avoid, what you must do, all of that shit, man. Like how to register your business name, all of that. It's like you just got to learn that.
Absolutely.
You just jump into it,
Yep.
into the deep end, I guess. But that'd be useful, you know.
Agreed. That would have been my answer as well.
I guess school's good for like teaches you how to read and write, do math. Music at school's good. I learn a lot of theory and stuff in that. There's a lot of good stuff with school. But yeah, I'd love to learn a bit more about money, how it all works.
Yep.
Bit money and business.
Yep. I think that would be super important.
Yeah.
And super like beneficial. Like, man, if I'd learnt how to manage money
Yeah.
when I was in high school, instead of
We'd be
you know,
rolling.
starting my new job, getting my first paycheck, I'm like, oh, all right, I work in a music store. I'm going to spend it all. I'm going to buy CDs.
Fully, yeah.
And then, you know, like, oh, wouldn't mind a new guitar amp. How much are they? Oh, like
Yeah.
$2.5 grand. Like, how am I going to get that money?
Yeah.
What? The bank will give me a loan? What?
beautiful.
What is that? And then it just all downhill from there.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Had
Like-
some horrific money stories. I bought a
Oh.
TV when I was like 19. I just never paid it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was a fucking idiot.
Yep. I've got like, hundreds of stories like that.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, yeah, that would be nice, man. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I studied business in high school, and I also did a business diploma last year. Literally no similarities between the two.
You're kidding?
None.
None.
Like, I don't know what the hell they were teaching me in high school, but it was absolutely useless.
I mean, and it moves so quickly too, with online.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, of course. There's lots of differences now,
But that's classic.
but yeah.
But that would have been cool, man. Yeah, I feel like school was good. It was good fun.
Yeah,
I had a good time.
good.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yeah, big
Then we'll
Azza.
wrap it up. We've been going for an hour. Actually got through an
Boom.
hour.
Boom. Like
know.
that.
I know.
Good stuff.
Um,
Number one.
okay. Any favourite books or podcasts?
Favorite books and podcasts.
And
Or podcasts. Okay, so for me, I'm a Joe Rogan man. I'm on there every day.
Yep.
Now, I know Josh from our band had been talking about Joe Rogan since friggin' I could remember. 10 years ago, probably.
Yep.
Um,
It took me just as long to jump on the train.
To jump on,
Yep.
you
Yep.
jumped on. So I always listen to Joe. I mean, from there, I kind of bounce. I mean, there's a lot of music ones I listen to. There's a lot of good drumming ones.
Yep.
There's 180 Drums. There's Disposable Heroes, who's run by my mate from Pepper.
Yeah,
He
sick.
just interviews like cool drummers. It's sick because it's like a drummer talking to a drummer.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Lead Singer Syndrome last
Shane
night,
Told.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Heaps of bands I'm into are on that. Books, Bullshit Jobs I'm listening to right now. My mate Andy Anderson just wrote a book.
Did you really?
Yeah. It's like essentially about just getting your shit together and making things happen, which
He's
is cool.
a very good example of a successful
Guys, just
got
doing it.
an
Man.
entrepreneur that's got his shit together and
Yeah.
and he's done really well.
Yeah, so that's cool, man. I've been reading that. It hasn't come out yet, but I've got the inside scoop, which is cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad was a good one. That was a monumental one.
Classic.
But yeah, man, podcasts. I also enjoy. What else do I listen to on bloody podcasts, mate? That's about it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I mean, I go on little tangents. I do a bit of Duncan Trussell. I do The Fighter and the Kid.
Yeah,
I kind of move between the Joe Rogan-y ones.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if I find a good guest on there, I'll look up podcasts and see if the guest has done another one.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's a really good place to start. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of a pretty good spot to start. And then
man.
all the drum ones, brother. They're
Yeah.
all sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We did it.
Hell yeah, as a
wrap
number
this shit
one
up.
down.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. We'll put all the links and shit and where everyone can find you
Absolutely, man. That'd be sick.
on the blog and the show notes and done.
Bro, thanks for having me.
No worries,
The
mate.
first
Thanks for being-
episode. What a
being
what
on.
a what a privilege and an honor, brother.
Sweet.
I look forward to seeing where this goes, man.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Hell
Who
yeah.
knows? Could
You
go
never
anywhere.
know. Could be the next big Joey. We'll see what happens.
Well, see what happens.
Fuck yeah. Good stuff,
Cheers,
man.
mate.
Thanks, bro.
No worries, mate. Thank you. So there you have it. Episode 1 in the books. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Big thanks to DK. What an absolute legend of a bloke. Be sure to say hi to him on his socials. While you're at it, if you'd like to keep in touch with what's happening here at the Writers Block, make sure you check us out. We are The Writers Block AU on Instagram, Writers Block AU on Twitter, and The Writers Block Co on Facebook. You can also find the blog over at thewritersblock.co, which will be constantly updated. Lots of interesting articles in the world of the creative arts. If you did enjoy the podcast and you're keen to hear more, make sure you subscribe on iTunes or whatever platform you're listening to this on. And finally, a big thanks to you guys for making it this far. This podcast is only the beginning for the Writers Block, and we're pretty excited for where this project is headed. And we're even more excited to have you along for the ride.